Hello! I recently went to Porto, a city by the coast in northwest Portugal, to eat to my heart's content over the course of 5 days. This is a travel guide showing you all the spots I visited and the delicious foods I enjoyed, so if you're thinking of planning a trip there, I hope this comes in useful, and if not, you might want to book a trip after this. We checked into our Airbnb the night before and grabbed a local meal nearby before waking up for brunch on our first full day. A lot of places were closed before 12 PM, but Zenith came out top to be a good breakfast spot. This is the egg Zenith, and it's got avocado, 2 poached eggs, bacon, crispy onions, chive, and it looks beautiful. It's only €9, which I think is very good for brunch. I think I'm used to London prices. This one is the Eggs Benedict with smoked salmon, and it's got avocado spread on the toast with some chives, hollandaise sauce, and also smoked salmon on the side. Who is ready for some egg yolk porn? I am ready for some egg yolk. Oof, you know how much I'll enjoy a runny egg yolk. Quick word of warning, as the name suggests, the turmeric latte tastes very strongly of the spice, and the matcha latte isn't anything to write home about. This is the Zenith pancake, so it's one giant fluffy pancake with a poached egg, spinach, crispy onions, mushrooms, tomatoes. This is the vegan option, and it's the tapioca pancake, and inside we've got some sun-dried tomatoes, we've got some mushrooms, vegan cheese, avo. Opposite Zenith there is a square. There's a flea market going on at the moment. They've got a bunch of jewellery stalls, they've got places for ponchos and accessories, and it's really nice around here, especially on Sunday after brunch. Just have a little stroll around. After brunch, we strolled around the neighbourhood and headed to Liberdade Square, where we saw the City Hall. This building started construction in 1920, but it didn't finish until 1957. We didn't go inside, though I hear the interior is beautiful. I did come up one evening to enjoy the last of the Christmas lights, though. Next up, Capela das Almas, also known as the Chapel of Souls. This church is beautiful, and it was first built in the early 18th century and later covered with blue and white tiles in the late 20th century. There are around 15,947 tiles in total, depicting the lives of St. Francis and St. Catalina. Entrance is free and it's well worth a visit. All of that walking calls for a snack, so I headed over to Fábrica de Nata, a famous bakery known for their pasteis de natas, a cream custard tart I recommend trying in Portugal. This was created at the end of the 17th century. Egg whites were continually left over from laundry and wine production, so various convents and monasteries experimented with making egg-based desserts, and these babies were born. We are now at a very famous spot called Fábrica de Nata, and they're known for pasteis de nata. You can either have one tart for €1, or you can combine it with a drink. So with a glass of port wine and one tart is €2.50, which I think is a bargain. Or you can also have it with tea for €1.60. Port. Ooh, sweet like me. The way to eat it is you sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon over the top, and it's all freshly made here. And the first taste, I've also sprinkled some cinnamon over the top. It's still warm. And the pastry is really crispy, creamy custard. It's sweet but not too sweet. I feel like it's sweet in Lisbon, but it's so nice with the cinnamon spice over the top. So good. And €1. They also have these stations where you can stand and have your nata. I've been to many McDonald's in my time, and I never normally feature McDonald's in a video apart from Singapore with McSpicy. But this is no ordinary McDonald's. This is the Imperial McDonald's. It's pretty nice. I would say this is the nicest McDonald's I've ever been to. They've got stained glass here, they've got chandeliers. So yeah, just quickly pop in and then pop it back out because it's really warm in here. This is the garden of the Crystal Palace. We're just walking through the gardens now, and it is surrounded by trees. The sun is setting and it's so warm, and it's really peaceful. There's also benches where people are reading and chilling, and I love moments like this where you're just strolling, enjoying nature, and then enjoying the beauty of a new destination. Legend has it these gardens were an inspiration for the Forbidden Forest in Harry Potter. It's said that J.K. Rowling may even have written a few chapters here. After this, we took a 20-minute taxi to Matosinhos Beach to catch our first sunset in Porto. This could very well be one of my favourite sunsets I've ever seen. The sky blushed before gradually firing up with streaks of gold, deep orange, purples and pinks. I watched surfers rise over the waves, the sea crash against the rocks, and listened to the sound of excited appreciation and the peacefulness of water rhythmically moving with the wind. It was bliss. I was hungry again, so it's time for a seafood feast. This restaurant was a 20-minute walk from the beach. This octopus has a light batter. It's very lightly done. It's actually quite delicate for something that is fried, and the rice isn't too dry. It's got little chunks of octopus with it as well, and also some olives. We've also got some grilled turbot fish served with some boiled potatoes and also a seafood rice for two. This seafood rice is flavoured really well. There's a little kick to it right at the end. It's kind of like a tomato base. Very generous with the prawns. It's also clams as well. The only thing I'd say is that the prawns are slightly overcooked, but I would still say that this is great, and between two people this is amazing. Also, big fan of the octopus. I love octopus. Whenever I see the menu, I always have to have it, and this did not disappoint. The first one is a typical Portuguese pudding, which is called pudim abade de priscos, and then the second one is a typical Portuguese sponge cake filling with egg paste, which is pão de ovos moles, or moles. This one tastes like ham down, well, it tastes like salted duck egg. This was rich, sweet, and tasted like silken caramel melted into a flan-like pudding. Delish! The next morning, I headed over to Majestic Cafe for breakfast, a restaurant J.K. Rowling supposedly finished writing the Philosopher's Stones at. Woohoo! The breakfast has arrived, so I've ordered the French toast, Majestic style, and over the top we've got some sultanas, walnuts, and then also a custard looking sauce. I'm really hoping it's custard. And then on the side they've dusted off some cinnamon shaped as a fork, which I thought was a really nice touch. I've also ordered the Majestic breakfast, which is €30 per person. And with that you get a bread basket. You also have a choice of a maize, so we pick some smoked salmon, also a pastry, glass of orange juice, glass of sparkling wine, and also a tea as well. You also get some yogurt parfait with the Majestic breakfast as well. It's pricey when you compare it to the food here in Porto, but it is a really beautiful setting despite it being filled with tourists. And also Majestic Cafe has such a rich history. It was established in 1921, and obviously JK came here as well. After brunch we are now on the Louis I bridge, and it is such a beautiful day. It's also quite hazy, so it adds a dream-like mist over the view of Porto, and it's a great view up here as well. You look over to the river, you've got all of the buildings behind you. It's really nice, and they've got the trains going past as well. This is what it's all about. Love a bridge. The sun is shining and I should have brought my sunglasses. Also, the French toast was divine. The sauce was almost like a hybrid of a marmalade, honey and custard. So it was like a thick syrupy sauce, but it wasn't too sweet, and it just kind of draped and drizzled beautifully over the toast, and the toast wasn't soggy. It was like a more of a baguette kind of slice topped with sultanas and walnuts, and every bite was just beautiful. I think the portion size is just right, because anything more it may get a little bit sickening, but that was great. So I would say go there early, although the queue for us did go quite quickly at 11 o'clock, but it is worth a spot. And I also liked imagining JK scribbling away, writing Philosopher's Stone with a hot coffee or maybe a hot chocolate, and that thought pleased me greatly. Fun fact, this bridge was constructed by a business partner of Gustave Eiffel in 1881 and was completed in 1886. It's a great spot to come to for views of Porto over the river. Next up is Cafe Santiago for the francesinha. This is a speciality here in Porto, and it's essentially a very very heavy, juicy sandwich. So inside this one, we've got the bread, we've got the bologna, which is made up of 2 fresh sausages and a red sausage, beef steak, ham, cheese, fried eggs, with a bed of fries and the francesinha sauce. So I've never had this before, but everybody in Porto and everybody online told me that I had to try it here. So I'm gonna give it a go and see what it's like. Here we go. Look at how heavy duty this sandwich is. So it looks like it's just covered with cheese and egg on the outside, but once you unlock the treasures inside, it's basically layered with meat and then more meat and then more meat. So we've got sausages in there, we've got ham, we've got steak, we've got egg, we've got cheese on a bed of fries. So I am having half of this because I do not think I can eat the whole thing by myself with dinner in 2 hours. If meat is your thing and you love cheese and meats and bread and carbs and fries, then come here. Verdict on the francesinha. I didn't expect to like it, but I actually really enjoy that. It is a heavy duty dish, but it was delicious. Despite all of the meat, it didn't taste too much overwhelming. I think it's because of the tangy sauce that's with it as well, paired with the fries. It's especially good when you dip the fries in and then eat it, to kind of help break up the meat a bit. It's got some black pepper right at the back of the throat after as well, so it's a nice little bit of a kick. 12 euros for the whole thing, so I think it is really good value. Very much enjoyed this and would definitely have this again with a beer, a super book. Our MB looks over Clerigal's Tower, so we'd often walk past it. This Baroque church is attached to a tower that stands at 76 meters tall, and here you can climb 200 steps for a view of Porto. Just mind the sound of the 49 bells that might ring out as you're climbing it. Next up, Sal Bento. This is seriously one of the most beautiful train stations I have ever seen. Imagine commuting from this stop every day for work. There are over 20,000 tiles here that took over 11 years to place with artwork that shows the history of Portugal. We are now at a restaurant called Porto and Bira, and this is reservations only. We tried to walk in here on the first night and it was absolutely packed, and they're having to turn away walk-ins the whole night, so make sure to book. First things first, the service is exceptional. 5 stars to the waiter, the best waiter so far on the trip. Knowledgeable, friendly, and wasn't pushy at all. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ribeye. We have 1.2 kilograms of it. With the steak that serves 2 people, you actually get 2 sides as well. So we've got sweet potato and sauteed vegetables. It comes out in a board like this. So this is 1.2 kilos. We've asked for medium rare, and look at the coloring of this. It looks so beautiful, and it's served for you as well with the waiter who's doing a one-man show and doing it perfectly. If you ever watch this, you're one of the best waiters ever. The next morning started in one of the most beautiful bookshops in the world, with staircases that supposedly inspired the moving ones in Hogwarts. I didn't have a great time here though. This is really overwhelming here. There is no crowd control, and you're in one of the oldest bookshops, one of the most beautiful bookshops, and it's absolutely chock-a-block full of people trying to get past. So I would not say that this is a very tranquil or calm moment, which I normally associate with bookshops. Yeah, that's the thing when you come to a very popular tourist attraction over tourism in this particular spot. And I love Harry Potter, but this is a bit much. After that experience, my appetite was raring to go for a big lunch, so I headed over to Zebota, a restaurant known for affordable Portuguese food and its dizzying choice of wines. We started with a traditional grilled sausage. This tasted almost like a meaty paste. It had a floury texture with pepper and a spicy kick. Next up, bacalhau for 2. Grilled salted cod cooked in a clay pan with olive oil, onions, potatoes, boiled egg and fried cornbread. The fish was salty, flaky, and it was an incredibly generous portion. This was my favourite seafood rise of the trip. It was filled with prawns, squid, clams and shrimp with rice soaked in a big pot of tomato-based sauce. I loved this. We finished with the veal ribs after reading a few rave reviews about this. Personally, I found it to be slightly too tough, and I prefer the restaurant the night before, though the chimichurri sauce was delicious. The Airbnb we're staying in is right next to the famous bookshop, and this is the view from our balcony. Oops, they just fell over. And you've got the tower there, music playing in the background, and people chilling in the park with beanbags and everything and just basking in the sun. Also tried the pastries from the bakery earlier. This bakery is dotted around Porto and has a large selection of local pastries and cakes. Thank you so much to Emily for sending over such an incredible list of places at like 1 AM, bless you. There were so many like restaurants and wine cellars and bakeries, and we went to the restaurant today called Cebota, and it was so good. We had the biscuit called the Ungaros, and it was a soft biscuit. I was expecting it to be a bit of a crunch, but it was soft. It had almost like an almond kind of flavour, you know, like marzipan flavour, and it's dipped with chocolate. But I can imagine that being so good with a cup of tea, which is why I just brewed a cup of green tea. And also the pastel de nata, which is again very good. It's different from the other one because it's slightly deeper than the one from the Fabrica one, so it meant that it had more custard in it and it was more of a glaze at the top. Walking down Rua de Vitoria to try and find a nice spot for sunset. Just left the apartment and a really cute little car is coming up. I love classic cars. Wait. So nice. This is a really beautiful spot for an elevated view of the city. Oh, that guy's just wiping his nose. And this is where you identify it. You have to come in through this gate here. And then it's just behind this church here. If you come here just before sunset, then you get this entire view as the sun is setting. Evening called and I wanted to try the pastel de nata from this famous bakery. Compared to Fabrica, this one is sweeter, flakier with a slightly runnier centre. Both are great, it just depends on personal preference. We are going to head out to Porto to celebrate New Year's Eve. We are ready. We're ready. Practicing for tonight. It's currently about 7 PM. Walking down. It is half an hour until 2020. Happy New Year's Day! Today we are at a restaurant called Emori Flores, and it's one of the only ones open in the city. Apparently it's really good octopus here, so I'm gonna give it a try. For starters, I've got a fish soup, and inside I've got some flaked fish, some tomato base, carrots, and it's pretty good. Got some croutons over the top. It is really nice, especially because it is pretty cold today. Oh, there are little bones in there though, so beware. Time for my main. So I ordered the grilled octopus served with some potatoes and creamed vegetables. This is the prawn spaghetti, and it's with the squid ink spaghetti as well. We've got vegetarian pasta with aubergine and mushrooms and tomato base. And then this is the seafood rice for two with monkfish and prawns. I really enjoy this octopus, and it's actually way more filling than I thought. It tasted very fresh. It's a very generous portion. Didn't really like the cream spinach as much, mostly because it felt very oily and crispy. It is quite an oily dish, but it is absolutely delicious. And then also the seafood rice, which I tried as well, was good, although I thought the monkfish was a touch too dry, but apart from that, the flavours of it was good. So for a tourist place, I did not expect to like it as much because it is in a very touristic area, but the food quality is good, the service is good, and the prices are a little bit more compared to going outside of a tourist spot. But if you're in a pinch, I would recommend coming here. gone for a little New Year's Day stroll. So I went over to Jardin de Moreau, and there's a little viewpoint right at the tippy top that you go up, and then you see the view of the city again. So it's another viewpoint and of the bridges, and it's such a warm day. What a way to start a new decade on the first day of the year with some warmth and some vitamin D. We basked in the sun, walked around town for the final time, ate another custard tart, and made our way over to the airport. I'm definitely coming back to Porto when it's warmer. The city's captured my heart. And that's it for the travel guide. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!